Okay, so let's get started over here with Adrienne. Now, Adrienne is at Balay Me Lefty, so if you're left-handed in here, you definitely want to follow Adrienne because it's awesome that we have a left-handed instructor that's up here teaching you a bit about crocheting. So I'm just going to ask a couple questions along the way. So Adrienne, and I guess we don't have a cameraman on stage, but if you want to come, you can if he wants to. But ultimately, this is what we do every day in the salon. You know, how we're painting breaks and the things that we're doing within, you know, adding light and dark reflection. Come on down. Come on down. Absolutely. So if you can't see, this will be a little bit more helpful for you, for him to be able to do that. But Adrienne, I'm going to ask you just a couple of quick questions along the way. Now, you said one thing in how long does it typically take you to paint a head of hair in the salon?
Typically, it takes me about 20 minutes. I feel like people tend to overpaint, so less is always more. And honestly, if you get a rhythm, the rhythm kind of takes you there faster as well. So
that's great. And so 20 minutes, even on long hair like you're painting right now?
Sure, because again, with crochet and different techniques, you want to allow breaks in the hair, so you need that dark light factor. And I would just keep it simple.
Right. Fantastic. Wonderful. One thing that you use in the salon, Adrienne, that's been wildly successful and all of us use now is an acronym that she calls PURE. And PURE stands for pre-book and upsell, retail, and experience. Can you tell us a bit about how you use that on your daily routine?
Sure. So every day when I get in, I kind of look at my day as a whole, but then I break it down per guest, and each guest gets that pure factor before the end of their visit. And that allows consistency, and it also allows a system, and systems create constants, which allow you to grow.
Right, and you're always working in the salon with an assistant. So with that being said, that helps them to always focus on finishing up what you start. So PURE is that way that you do that.
Exactly.
And would you find yourself sometimes, Adrienne, forgetting that PURE acronym? And on those days, do you feel like you don't have as successful of a day?
Absolutely.
Good.
And your guests are trained, so they say, well, I haven't made my appointment yet, or you haven't asked me about my retail yet, so
good.
They love it too.
Awesome. Now, one thing that I think is really amazing about Adrienne is obviously, she's been a six-figure hairdresser for quite a while, and she is a true powerhouse. And she was a little put out that Taylor beat her out this year, but it was only because she got married last year, and you know what that's like when you get married, right? You got to have a lot of time off. However, Adrienne, you haven't touched an aluminum foil in over 6 years. How does your business continue to grow without the use of foil?
So without the use of foil, I just continue educating myself. I really feel like your brush stroke is where it's at, and changing up your brush stroke and not necessarily the technique to get your look, because balayage gives me any look that I need to create.
And do you feel sometimes intimidated by the fact that a lot of folks are using foil and you think, oh my gosh, you know, is my client going to feel like she's not getting foliage or she's not getting those types of things? Or do you feel like staying pure to your system ultimately keeps your clients happy?
I definitely keep the confidence because, again, education is kind of what gives you that unsurety. And just making sure that you stay up on the trends, of course, and knowing how to create them with the paintbrush.
Perfect. Well, let's give it up for Adrienne, please. Okay, so Mr. Cameraman, we're going to move back right over here, and we're going to go over here to Boss Taylor. So if you'll just don't go too quick now. I don't want you tripping on that cord. All right, so Taylor, you're painting a hairline. Tell us a bit about how you approach a hairline.
So I always want to determine the look that I'm going for first. I really, if you're painting a brunette versus a blonde, you're going to paint them differently. Some of the things that I do around the hairline is I want to make sure that I'm skimming and not painting it all the way up to the scalp, as well as body position is huge. I'm right-handed, so I want to stand, in front of her so that I have a good brush stroke. That's going to keep my section really clean. As well as making sure that I have saturation as well.
Right. Now, do you do both sides the same? Do you always paint the hairline? What is your sort of rule of thumb?
So it's something that you taught me, that you want them to be sisters, not twins. So that's one of the things that I keep in mind, as well as every head of hair, I'm going to use a different brush stroke, a different saturation, depending on the level of lift that I'm really looking for.
Right. And so how do you determine where you leave the contrast on your hairline? Is that just simply something you eye, or is that just a taste level?
Yeah, I think sometimes people bring in inspiration pictures, and I'll ask them how they want their hairline to look, whether they go to the gym and they want to see some contrast or they want to be more solid. So I ask them how they wear their hair a lot.
Right, wonderful. Now, Taylor, this is a great question for you because you said you're 25 now years old. 25 years old, did almost $400,000 behind the chair. Hello. I don't even think I was getting out of bed at that point. But nonetheless, that is a wonderful thing. But you do it very simply. You just have a consistent rule. You just kind of follow that.
Yes.
But because you're so busy, how at 25 and in a millennial, how do you use social media to leverage your business?
Yeah.
One, that's one. And two, how do you get it done? How do you do it?
Well, I feel like with social media, I took the time when I was newer behind the chair to separate personal and professional pages. And then once I did that, I created a plethora of content that even to this day I can go back and post now that I'm not having the time to film everything because I'm painting, 8 to 10 heads a day and men's cuts and women's cuts in between. I don't have time to film all that. So I want to make sure that, word of mouth is still getting around. I still think that that's really the best form of advertisement.
And I think what you've also done, Taylor, which has been great, is you have kind of gotten a niche. I mean, look at her. Don't you want to go get your hair done by Taylor? I mean, she looks adorable. And more importantly, she's sort of circled in on kind of a niche clientele.
Yeah,
Would you agree? And how did you make that happen?
I think I kind of targeted the type of girl that I wanted. I dressed the part of I want to paint this type of girl's hair, and that's what I post. I personally don't do a lot of fantasy colors, and so I don't post a lot of fantasy colors because I feel that what you post is what you draw in, as well as the conversations that you're having behind the chair. I really try to connect with each one of my guests and, act like we're best friends and we're really getting to catch up so that it's that heart connection that they feel.
They definitely feel your heart. There is no doubt about that, Taylor. Let's give it up for Taylor Logan. Okay, so now, Mr. Cameraman, work your way right on over here. Let me get your little tail. Oh, my goodness. Don't want you to fall. Okay. All right. So worried he's going to fall down and trip. Okay, so here we go. So, Sydney, you're doing one of my most favorite techniques, skimming technique. So talk a bit about how you use this technique in the salon.
I love using this technique for baby lights. I love using it to have cohesive color, especially when you have banding going on where they do their own base color that we just love, to really make sure their color's the same throughout. I also love that you always say that there's no such thing as hot roots. There's only brown ends. So I love using this technique to really just get some of that old color out to then put the new in.
Right. And I've kind of got a question for you, Sydney. So you are obviously a dark goddess. So your hair is always dark. You wear reds and beautiful violets. Do you find that you attract that type of client in your chair, or are you still also doing everything else?
I would say I have a variety, but I definitely feel like majority of my clientele trust me when they want to do the reds and the darker tones. I also work with a lot of levels of 3 to 6, depending on what they're going for, but I do work with those levels a lot because I have it.
Right. So now you've used the skimming technique. I know that I use the skimming technique a lot to get rid of banding and, as she says, to refreshen color. I love to skim ahead in maybe 10 minutes, really, really, really fast, skim the whole thing and basically clean the canvas on which to put my newest color. So I know you use it a lot for that. But baby lights is the single one way. So when people aren't wanting hash marks on the football field, or they're not wanting to see a streak every 5 yards like a football field, the skimming creates just a real soft technique through balayage. So I hope you'll go and subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out some of my videos of skimming, and come down and see us, of course, in Atlanta in our academy there, and learn more about this. So, you know, balayage is not just a bunch of V's. It's not ombre. You know, it's every single technique that you could totally want to use behind the chair with the power of the paintbrush. Now, Sydney, I know that you and I got off to a rough start. We love to talk about that, when I was knocking her head against the wall when she was 19, and I had to teach her a few little mama lessons along the way, if you know what I'm saying. What do you think is different about you now that wasn't then?
I have the eye of the tiger now. I'm on a mission for success. I finally found myself, and now I have the confidence to put that out to my whole clientele, and now I'm able to do everything I do behind the chair.
And so you just started believing in yourself, and now you're getting ready to start working with an assistant.
Yes.
So last year was your first year to hit the 6-figure mark, and then this year we're going to hope that we get, you know, we have some folks in the club, and actually I'm honored today that someone that worked for me for 25 years is in the crowd right here in the front row. She's my first hairdresser that ever hit $1 million in sales. This lady right here, Kim Moore. Let's give it up for her. Woo! She now lives in Bainbridge, where she's from. I had to let her go, but I do love that she's still a Sunlights lover and a Sunlights customer. And thank you, and Karen, for coming and supporting us today. All right, so Tori, so what you're doing, Tori, is obviously very basic. This is just a basic brochet technique that you could use for highlights or lowlights. You're painting on the top. Tell us a bit about how you choose and or select your brochet. How do you know? That's the single number one question that I get in the classroom is, how do I know what to paint? You know, what do I see? So how do you teach yourself to do that, Tori?
So something that you taught me, very similar to what Taylor said, is you want everything to look like sisters, not twins, especially on the part line, because that's where your guest's hair is going to grow out the most naturally there. Another thing is balayage is a feeling. And I kind of made up a little saying called pick a peek and paint it.
Ah, I like that. Pick a peek and paint it.
So a lot of times I'll take a section down and I'll just kind of comb my fingers through it. And whatever pieces of hair that are kind of sticking up more naturally, that's what I'll paint, because I know that's what's going to stick up in their hair naturally as well.
Right. So we obviously talk about that, how you identify the breaks of the hair, how you identify where the peaks and the valleys live. So you're just watching when the hair jumps, you paint it.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Well, that's a great way to think about it, and how to do that is very a wonderful way, a wonderful visual for me to use. Now, Tori, newest girl on the floor, 4 months, used to be a receptionist and learned to be a hairdresser.
Yep.
I mean, pretty incredible. In Georgia, you don't have to go to beauty school. Fortunately, Tori had already gone to beauty school, but kind of gave it up.
Exactly.
Decided maybe she didn't find her passion in that right away.
Right.
But you said that you always practiced patience and humility. Can you tell our audience a bit about what that meant to you?
Yes. So when I started at JSH, I really made it my goal to leave my ego at the door every single day before I walked in, because I knew I had to bring myself back down, assist, and do all of that. So I said, you know what, let's leave the ego at the door, keep a positive attitude every day when we walk in, and everything's good. And then sitting myself next to the most successful ladies in the salon.
Right. So when Tori came to go on the floor, she approached me and she said, "Could you please do me one favor? Can you please put my station next to these girls? Because I don't want to go hide in the corner. I want to surround myself with people who are doing it, who are walking the walk and talking the talk. And out of respect, I want to work next to them so that I can learn how to do just that." So let's give it up for Tori. Thank you. Okay, so of course all of you ladies are lady bosses. You know how I feel about you. I told them I might cry just looking at them because I'm so proud. And that's really, truly what a great educator is. An educator or a mentor or a coach is somebody who comes out and shares their gifts and watches somebody find their own stride and their own passion. So these girls are wildly successful, but more importantly, they're just amazing women, and I'm super proud of all of y'all. But I'm going to finish it off with one last little nugget. One last nugget of advice that you could give to our audience out here. If you could give us one nugget about your success or how to be successful, our lady boss, Tori, what would it be?
Don't ever be afraid to receive criticism from your peers, your boss, coworkers, whoever, because they do it out of love and they just want you to succeed at the end of the day.
Perfect. I love that. That's a good one. All right. Sydney, what is your nugget of advice for success?
I would say let go and let God. Just
awesome.
Let it go and let God do what he needs to do.
Perfect. I love that. Great one, Sydney. Fantastic. And what about you, Miss Taylor? What would be the nugget of a lady boss that you'd like to share?
I would say stay consistent and true to yourself. I think your clients really appreciate that when you're true to yourself and makes you better at what you do.
Right. That's a good one. Yeah, stay consistent. Stay true. Stay true. Okay, Balay Lefty, what would be your little nugget of advice? How have you been so successful?
I mean, I would say marry the boss's son.
Okay, that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad.
But really, I feel like you should approach each day wanting to be better than the last.
That's a good one. Yeah, we always talk about approaching each day wanting to be better than the last. Certainly, that is something super, super important.